Okay, let's just dive right into this because this idea, it pretty much flips a lot of the business advice you've heard right on its head. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful and maybe a little counterintuitive strategy for getting the absolute best clients. You know, the ones who get incredible results. And it all comes down to one thing: understanding the massive difference between marketing to what someone wants versus what they need.
And it all kicks off with this question, a real paradox that I swear every single coach, consultant, or creator has banged their head against the wall over. You see someone who is really struggling. You know you've got the exact solution they desperately need. But then they sign up and they just fizzle out. What is going on there? Well, the answer isn't in what you're selling. It's all in their psychology.
We call this the performance paradox. It's that super frustrating reality that the clients who seem to need you the most, and, they're often the ones buying your cheapest offer, are the very same ones who get the worst results. They've got this huge gap to close, but somehow they're the least likely to actually do it. So let's unpack why that is. So what's going on inside their head? Well, this slide just nails it. The low-price customer is often just a tester, They've got one foot in, one foot out. They're just hedging their bets. They're looking for someone else to fix their problem. Their thinking is, okay, I paid you, now it's your job to make me successful. And of course, that leads to totally unrealistic expectations. And because they're not really all in, the second things get even a little bit tough, they're out of there. And here's the thing, right? This has nothing to do with how smart someone is or how capable they are. It is all about psychological readiness. So we have to completely shift our thinking away from what a client needs and focus entirely on what they truly want. Because that desire, that want, it signals a huge shift in their own identity. And this just lays it all out, side by side, so perfectly. The needer is basically protecting their ego. See, admitting they need real help feels like a threat, so they point fingers at everything else. Oh, I just need a new funnel, or I just need more traffic. They're waiting to be rescued. But the wanter? Totally different story. They are actively pursuing a new identity. They see the gap, they own it, and they are ready, developmentally ready for real change to happen. So, and this is the absolute key. When a person finally moves from saying, I need this, to I want this, it is so much more than a change in words. It's what we call an identity declaration. They are telling themselves, I am becoming the kind of person who does this work, who invests in themselves, who gets this result. And that internal declaration, that's the real starting line for any transformation. Okay, so what in the world does all this psychology stuff have to do with your price tag? Well, everything. See, price isn't just about what someone can afford. It's actually one of the most powerful mindset filters you have at your disposal. It literally reveals how committed they are and what identity they're already stepping into. Just think about it, the psychology of, say, a $500 investment. What's going on in their mind? It's probably something like, I'll give it a shot, or I really hope this works, right? It's the mindset of a tester, a skeptic. The risk is low, so the psychological buy-in is also low. It's just an experiment. But now, let's crank that up to $5,000. Totally different ballgame, right? The mindset shifts completely. The internal conversation isn't I'll try, it's I will make this work. This person isn't a tester, they're an owner. They're taking full-on responsibility for the outcome because they have to. The price didn't create the commitment. It just revealed the commitment that was already there. And this table just wraps it all up so neatly. A low price, you're going to get the bargain hunters and the hope seekers, people with that tester identity who are really just looking for someone else to rescue them. But a premium price, that attracts a different breed entirely. The solution seekers, the investment thinkers, people with an owner identity who are looking for leverage to make their own efforts go faster. And honestly, it all boils down to this one powerful truth. You can have the greatest program on the planet, but you cannot want this for your client more than they want it for themselves. You just can't. Their desire, their want, is the fuel. Without it, the engine never starts. All right, so how do we actually use this? We have to shift the way we talk in our marketing. We need to stop speaking to people's desperation and start speaking directly to their aspiration. Our goal is to attract the people who've already made the decision to change, not waste our energy trying to convince the ones still sitting on the fence. I mean, just look at the difference here. The language on the left is all about pain, struggling, problems, failing. That's a magnet for the needer mindset. But the language on the right, it speaks to a higher identity, for those who are ready, when you're committed, designed for those who've already decided. See the shift?
You're calling out to the people who are already in motion. So all of this leads us to a really clear, practical framework for figuring out who our ideal clients are. It's about learning to spot where someone is on their own personal journey, from being dependent to having real authority. So basically, you've got 3 types of people. At the bottom, there's the dependent. They're looking for rescue, they need permission for everything, and they are super sensitive to price. In the middle, and this is your sweet spot, is the independent thinker. They've already decided to take action, they're looking for a way to get there faster, and they see price as an investment. And then at the very top, you have the autonomous decision maker, who's just looking for that extra edge. Your marketing, it should be a bullseye aimed right at those independent thinkers.
And this brings us to something so critical. It's called the permission paradox. The whole point of most coaching or consulting is to help people claim their own authority, right? But here's the trap. When you lower your price to help someone who says they can't afford it, you think you're helping, but you're actually reinforcing the very dependency you're trying to help them break. You're robbing them of the chance to make that powerful identity-level decision for themselves.
So the big picture here, the meta lesson, is that this goes way beyond just a sales tactic. The way you select your clients actually models the very transformation you teach. You're showing them what it looks like to move from dependency to authority. Your job is not to convince the skeptical or rescue the desperate. Your real job is to be a lighthouse that attracts the independent thinkers who have already decided they're ready for the voyage. And so that leaves us with this one final, powerful question you really gotta ask yourself. Take a hard look at your business, your offers, your marketing language. Is your pricing acting as a filter that brings you committed, ready-to-act owners? Or is it accidentally attracting the testers who are almost designed to fail from the start? The answer to that question could literally change everything.